Talking about this with Jen, and she laughs, and I laugh, and we laugh as one. And then she says, but if we had a baby, I think it would be different.
You performed the show so many times.
So many times, yeah.
Has it changed at all since show number 1?
Oh my, it changes every night. It still changes. I already filmed it. I filmed it on Broadway. That's what's going to come out on Netflix. But what's funny is I'm doing the show 8 shows a week right now. I have 1 more week, and I'm still making changes. I can't not. I never view things as done. I just view them as you just stop doing them eventually. I've been working on it since 2016. That was the incarnation. So I've been working on it about 3 years. I've toured about 70 cities. I've done the show on and off Broadway, and the final stop is here in the Ahmanson in Los Angeles, which is a really, we're here. It's stunning. It's this gorgeous theater, and it's in Los Angeles, which is a city that usually hates me, but this week likes me. The show is all about the first 13 months and the pregnancy and all these things that are really, really challenging, and that Jen and I go through together, and really like low points. Like it's a very like confessional show about like struggling through being a dad and being uncertain about that's what I should do. But the other side of it is like my daughter's 4.5 now, and she's great. So people are like, "Oh, are you still like in the weeds?" And I'm like, "No, it's awesome," But that's not a funny show. Yeah. It's not funny to talk about how your life is great. That's what I've learned about comedy over the years.
There are also people that sort of don't think that struggling with kids is funny. Do you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
That are like, how could he say that about his beautiful angel of
Absolutely.
a family?
Yeah, no, and of course, yeah, you have to, whenever you are talking about parenting, there's a few different obstacles, right? So you have one, which is that some people feel like it's just a sacred thing and it can't be joked about and we're all so lucky, which we are, so there's that side of it. Those people aren't wrong. And then you have people who are like, talking about kids is boring. I'm like, you're right. So all these people are correct in their things. So you thread the needle. You try to make it. What I wanted to do was create a show where the first half of the show is all about all the reasons why I never want to have a child and no one should ever have a child. And the second half of the show is about how I had a child and how I was right and then how I was ultimately wrong. And that's like the moment of emotion in the show. I mean, it really is like I would describe it as having like 3 minutes of emotion in the show where it's really like the sort of how I feel now.
You say you're friends with kids are zombies and that like they're kind of a disease, but then now you sort of have this disease.
Correct.
Do you have advice for people that don't have kids?
And you do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
As to how to be better friends to people with kids.
Oh gosh. No, I think I don't have that. I think that's way above my pay grade. I feel like I created a show that like really speaks to like answering one thing, which is like, what do you do when you find yourself in a situation where you and your wife don't want exactly the same thing, but you love each other? And it's like, and I think the answer is just like, try harder, be better, expand your heart, or couples counseling. Yeah, that's helpful.
She said, I was clear I didn't want to have a baby at the time, but that I might change. I said, I was clear I would never change. She said, if you don't want to have a baby, maybe I'll have one on my own and we can stay married. And I said, oh, that'll be a good look.
I've heard from a lot of comedians when they'll perform the show they'll perform their show, they'll tour over the country, and then the taping of the show is like the worst show of the tour.
Yeah.
How did you sort of approach the taping, and like how do you feel about how the taping went?
I've had that experience, but not with this one. This one I was really intent on the idea that we film it on Broadway where we had sat it for 99 shows. And that as much as possible, like I've worked with my director, Seth Barish, for years and years and years. Like this is our 4th show. We've worked together for 15 years. We've co-directed before. He's directed, I've directed, like we've done a lot of variations. This one I was like, you direct, I'm going to try to just treat it like it's just another show and just like leave me out of it like as much as possible. And he totally did that. And I think I think it's probably the best special I've done, but I don't know. I mean, not enough people have seen it yet to really know. It's sort of scary. That's what's sort of scary about Netflix is it's like goes, it's like slingshot into like 150 million people, and then you're like, anybody like this? I mean, it's definitely like an awkward family show. Like it's like the topics of it have to do with reproductive things and whatever sort of things that you don't want to talk to your parents about. But like, it stokes a good conversation with your parents. Like one of the things I've noticed, especially with somewhere like the Amundsen, you get like a lot of older patrons and a lot of like younger people, and a lot of parents and children come together. And I think that it's good to understand what your parents went through to be your parents. That is actually one of the broadening things about becoming a parent is you go like, oh, my parents had to deal with this shit. Oh my God, that's so crazy. And so in that sense, like I think it is it's intended as a bonding experience. When I was developing the show, originally what happened is I would come out and I'd tell some of the stories. Like I would talk about how like, you know, when I became a dad, like I felt like I was nothing. I was this pudgy, milkless vice president of the family, and it would like kill with like parents, right? Like it would like with that audience, like people my age or parents or older, it would kill with. But then like I did the show at Princeton because I do a lot of college shows, and it wasn't connecting that same way. It was fine, but it was like, oh, I don't want this to become a show that only connects with people who've had this experience. And so I broadened it out and I came up with this couch metaphor, which is this idea that like I love my couch and my whole life, you know, like I've been attached to my couch, and when you're in your 20s, you get a couch on the street, and then you reach a point where you can afford a couch, and how that tracks through my marriage, and then the couch when I have a child. And it's sort of about how a lot of us are, myself included, resistant to change, and how we just want to sort of be on the couch, and how it's and how so much of it of life is about like going outside your comfort zone. And that's why I think like younger people like dig the special or dig the show too, because it really isn't about having a kid. Like it's about like changing and trying something that you're not comfortable with.
I think the reason a couch is so expensive is that it's a deceptively sophisticated piece of technology. It's a bed that hugs you. It's like, you want to watch TV? You want to eat pizza? You sure do like eating. But I like that about you.